Good evening. I'm back for our second vlog, and I'm reporting to you from a very famous studio, Capitol Records in Hollywood, where our band, Sasha's Bloc, is almost ready to record with the very famous 10 Grammy a cappella group, Take 6. The reason I'm saying this, it sort of occurred to me that it's a funny transition when I started in Russia almost 50 years ago. And I'm here in Hollywood right now recording with such an amazing artist, playing jazz. Sort of makes me smile. At the same time, I'm very proud of what we were able to accomplish, and I hope you will go on that journey with us as well. I was asked to speak a little bit about my Russian origin and what brought me to this sort of interests and dedication to jazz. And we are playing really classical standards and jazz classics of American songbook in some ways. So, from Russia with love, you know, it's amazing. I have to tell you that when I was in Moscow in the 60s and 70s, I listened and played a lot of American classical genre in music that I thought was terrific. And although we had quite a bit of restrictions and things were not easy during the communistic years in Russia, we still had some access to American records, to international records, and were able to listen to such an amazing music of Benny Goodman and Billie Holiday and Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong. And even more advanced, more modern music in the 70s and 80s, like Manhattan Transfer, Singers Unlimited, and of course Take 6 later on. So my parents were doctors, and they didn't want me to be a professional musician. They thought I should be a doctor. My whole family was doctors, and in that time in Russia it was really hard to make music, especially styles like pop and rock and jazz. So although I loved to play and played with different small home groups, you know, my focus at that time was still to go to medical school, and I did. Although when I went to medical school, I played with 2 different bands at that time, and then further on I kept playing with professional jazz musicians throughout Russia in the clubs, which was really, really exciting for me. And we were experimenting a lot, and jazz was maturing in Russia. As I say, people rarely know that Russian jazz started in the 1920s, almost at the same time when jazz in the United States went to New Orleans and then to New York and Chicago. Stalin, who was the dictator at that time, didn't want any American influence whatsoever. However, he was told by his close allies that jazz was the music of oppressed working class in the United States. And just based on that crazy idea, he allowed jazz to be played. And there are several musicians like Utesov and Safman and some other groups that really started to form what we know in these days classical big bands. Modern jazz in Russia is very avant-garde. There's a lot of traditional jazz, but people really, really enjoy and indulge themselves in the very avant-garde jazz, which I like. I don't play, but that's what really became a hallmark of jazz music in Moscow or in Russia. But here, we playing for 3 years almost together with Sasha's Bloc band. That works really well. We recorded albums with Jane Monheit. We are recording with Take 6. We play music for K-Jazz. So it's a great fun for all of us, and we hope to keep you updated on what's going on with our band, and hope you will hear this single from this recording soon on the radio and in the CD forms and videos, etc. It was good to talk to you all, and I'll see you next month.